Are you happy? Are you? Do you want to be happy? Do you feel like you deserve to be happy? Listen, if the answer to that question is no, then hit the subscribe button right now, because the intent of my channel is to bring you content from my life experience, from my training, from my background, from the dojo, from a lot of different resources that I have at my fingertips at this point in my life. My intent for this channel is to bring content to help you live your best life, to give you access to your full potential, to give you tips and information that you may not have heard in the past, to help you live your best life. That's what I want for you, because I know that you do deserve happiness, that you do deserve to be happy. Okay? So hit the subscribe button right now if you feel like you don't. But back to the topic of the day. Are you happy? Do you want to be happy? Were you happy in the past at one point and now you find yourself struggling to get back to that place where, in general, generally speaking, you're a happy person? Generally speaking, the energy and the vibration and the frequency that you bring to life on a daily basis is happiness. The energy that you get from life, the energy that you feel in life is vitality and joy and happiness and well-being, even if life is bringing challenges, as it does for each and every one of us. Even in the midst of sometimes crisis, chaos, and challenge, can you, generally speaking, be happy? Not to deny our other emotions, not to deny the negative emotions that we will sometimes feel and that we have a right to feel at times, not denying that. But in general, overall, is your primary feeling tone one of happiness? I believe it ought to be. I believe that you deserve it. I believe that we as human beings, it's part of our natural energetic state. Our state of being is one of joy, of happiness. And if we're not there, we have to question ourselves, look in the mirror, and figure out what it is that's blocking us from being happy. What's stopping us? Why shouldn't we be happy? Even if you're punishing yourself from something you did in the past. Now, that might be the topic for a different video on breaking through guilt or shame or regret or whatever it is. Even though each and every single one of us makes mistakes and does things that we regret, can we release, can we forgive, and can we just get to a place where we are happy? Now, this topic is a struggle for a lot of people on the planet right now. I understand that. I know that for a fact because I get messages. People know that I'm an actor, that I've, Cobra Kai, Karate Kid, Pastor Bobby Brown here, not a priest. But also people who follow me understand and know that I'm a sensei, a real life sensei, and that the esoteric principles from the martial arts are something that I love to share, even with people who don't want to train in the martial arts, that I have a background in human behavior and human psychology and neuro-linguistic programming. And so, yes, I'm those things, but I'm a life coach. I'm a motivational speaker, inspirational speaker, and this type of content I love. I love to dive in, to go underneath the surface and dig deeper to find more meaning in the things that we all go through in life, and to bring that meaning to bear, to bring that meaning to you, so that we can all find more meaning and more purpose and more passion in life and be happy. Because that's what we ought to be. What a different world it would be if all of us, or the majority of us, were indeed happy, at peace with ourselves, with life, even though life does bring chaos and crisis. As I speak right now, the world is in crisis. Yeah, the world is in crisis. Russia has invaded Ukraine. There's a madman behind the wheel, and there's a lot to be angry about. There's a lot, and I get angry. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot that we've been through over the last couple years with COVID. There's a lot of things that have left people sad and confused and depressed and angry and frustrated. And I'm not denying any of those things, and I don't think any of us should. I think a lot of us should watch a lot less TV, because the world, the chaos of the world, can steal from our happiness. It can absolutely steal from our ability to be happy, and especially if we're consuming too much of that stuff. Because if you want to be happy, the most important world to be paying attention to is your world, your immediate surroundings, your immediate world. So yeah, we can be angry, we can be upset. People have experienced a lot of loss and a lot of trauma and a lot of change and transition over the last couple of years with the COVID pandemic, and even without the COVID pandemic. Those things, happened prior to the COVID pandemic happening, and those things will continue into the future because it's just part of the human experience. All right, so can you be happy? I know that you and me and all of us deserve it and should be happy, because here's the thing. Here's what I know about happiness, is that all of us are trying to set up our lives and create and get and achieve things and go out there and make things happen and make our dreams come true. And many of us, we all have different wants, but I'm using this as a broad scope generalization that people want, the dream house and the dream car and the dream job and the dream relationship with dream friendships, absolute, the pinnacle of all of that, a lot of money in the bank, safety, security. In all of that getting, in all of that doing, in all of that trying to achieve, what are you really after? What will those things give you? What's the purpose for going out there and trying to have and do and create all of those things? The purpose is to be happy. Those things will give you happiness, or so you think, or so most people think. Once we have those things, once we've done the things to get those things, to have those things, then we get to be happy. Well, that is a misuse of spiritual law, number one, because if you want to use the spiritual law correctly and have life work for you instead of against you, then you want to be happy already, even without those things showing up in your life just yet. The more that you can be happy and be in a state of gratitude and know that these things are already done, then, because they're already done, they're already available in the universe. You live in a friendly universe, by the way, even though some of you watching might not think so. But we live in a friendly, supportive universe. Just stop, turn off the news, and check out Mother Nature and see how everything is always being supported. Now, back to the topic. Where was I? I was talking about having to get these things in order to be happy. No, you got to be happy first and be in a state of gratitude, and these things will begin to manifest and show up, sometimes miraculously, sometimes without you even being able to explain it. You will be given the opportunity to have what you want. So be is the first rule. Be happy already. Now, that's challenging. That can be very, very challenging. I understand it. Happiness is a state of being. So this video is about what you're being, who you're being, how you're being while you're doing everything that you're doing. You're not a human doing. You're a human being. Happiness is a state of being. Okay? Don't worry. Be happy, as the old song suggests. But it's not that easy, is it? It's not that easy just to be happy. No, it's not. And happiness, by the way, is not a choice. That's an outdated paradigm in my view. Happiness isn't a choice. It's not. If it were that simple, we would all just choose happiness, wouldn't we? Most of us would. 99.9% of us on the planet would just choose happiness If it were a choice, like walking into a grocery store and choosing the red apple or the green apple, if the red apple represents happiness and the green apple represents sadness or depression, which one would you choose? You would choose the red apple, wouldn't you? And you'd be done with it. But happiness is not necessarily a choice. We are much more complex human beings than simply making choices like that and then, oh, I'm choosing happiness, so I'm happy. No, we're much more complex, like I said, and many of our choices are unconscious. They're subconscious. We go through this subconscious routine. In fact, many of us are just going through life pretty much on an unconscious level. Probably another topic for yet another video in the future. So if it's not a choice, what is it? Well, my suggestion, the first happiness hack here, I'm going to give you 5, maybe even a 6th, a bonus if you hang on till the end with me. The first hack is to be intentional. What are you being? To be happy, you got to be certain things. And the first hack is to be intentional. Happiness is an intention. Intend it. If you intend to be happy, if every morning you wake up and you get out of bed and your intention is to create more happiness in your life and to be happy that day, and if you remind yourself throughout the day that your intention is to be happy, then you will start to do things that happy people do. You will start to do and be, you will start to do things that cause you to be happier because you're intending it. You're intending to bring that energy into your life. Let me give you an example, okay? Let's say you've had a long day at work. You drive home, you're frustrated with your colleagues and your boss yelled at you and you're angry. And you're stewing in negativity, in negative energy. And you pull up to the house and you've got a family waiting for you or someone you care about waiting for you. And you get out of the car without thinking, unconsciously, you just continue your pattern of the day and you step into your house and you bring that energy with you. If you have children, do you think that they can feel it? You betcha. Do you think it affects them? Yes. Children are very sensitive to energy, but so are we all. Do you think your partner, your wife, your spouse, your loved one, your husband, do you think that they will feel it? How do you think the rest of that evening is going to go with you bringing your work energy, your negative work energy into the house without being intentional about the energy that you want to bring into your home with the people you care about? If you want to live more masterfully, if you want to live your best life, then you're intentional about the moments in your life. You're intentional about the situations and the outcomes you want from those situations. If you want to live more masterfully, you got to be more intentional about it. So how many people watching this video, I wonder, stop in the driveway, take a breath, take a moment, release the day, and intend a certain amount of energy, intend to be present, intend to be playful, intend to enjoy the evening with your family, intend to create happiness, and be intentional before you step into the house, before you get out of the car. The rest of the evening, how many people, I wonder, are intentional about the outcome they want for the rest of their day? You follow? Most people will not be that intentional about it. Most people are living their life more randomly. I'm suggesting to be more intentional about the moments in your life and your day, and mostly for the purpose of this video, to be happy. You got to be intentional about being happy, because if you are, and you've put that in your consciousness, and you're intentional every day, and you make that a habit of intending happiness, you will find out the reasons why you're not happy. They'll show up, and you'll be intentional about overcoming them. You'll be intentional about finding more ways to be happy. Okay, and I'm going to give you some more ways right now. That is your first hack. Please start being intentional about your happiness. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. It happens, let me say it again. Life doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. Your happiness isn't just going to show up one day and happen to you. It's going to happen through you and largely because of you and your intention. You follow? What's the next hack? What's the next hack? A lot of this, by the way, is common sense, but we know that common sense is not always common practice, is it? I hope it will start to be common practice for you, because a lot of it, like I said, is simply common sense. A lot of this topic of this video is about managing your energy, okay? Because happiness, as much as it is a state of being, it's an energetic state. It's an energy, and it's a different energy than sadness, right? It's a different energy than anger. It's a different energy than resentment, and all of those are different energies. So this is about managing your energy, and one of the very best ways to do that, of course, is to be nutritional. Be nutritional. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? You got to be nutritional. In other words, it's not just what you feed your body, it's how you feed your body. And you got to know that you don't have a mind and a body. They're not separate. They're one system. What you feed your body, you feed your mind. And what you feed your mind, you feed your emotions. What you're focused on mentally feeds your emotional state. So it all links back to your intention about being happy. If you're going to be, if you're going to be intentional about being happy, then you're going to be nutritional. And you're going to feed your body in a way, with the things it needs, and in a way that supports your mental and emotional state. And, some of this is researchable. A lot of this is researchable on Google. There's so much information out there about nutrition these days, and what to eat and what not to eat, and how to eat and how not to eat, that I really don't have to go very far in this video and do a whole nutritional informational content dump here on this video. I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying be nutritional. Here's what I am going to say. Leafy green vegetables, of course. We know the quality organic foods we should and shouldn't be eating. You know it by now. And if you don't, please start researching it. Also, I'm going to say, full transparency, I am not a doctor. I am not a licensed nutritionist. I don't know your specific needs. So if you have specific needs, medically or otherwise, then consult with your doctor about anything I'm about to say in this video. Consult with a licensed nutritionist. Go get the information you need because you're intentional about being happy, so you're gonna wanna get the most information that you can. I do know that what you feed your body, you feed your mind. You have to be nutritional. Now, how? I wanna talk about blood sugar real quick. If this is your average range of blood sugar, and in this average range you feel mentally and physically pretty good, and if that's your range and you're up here, your blood sugar spikes because you've had a lot of sugar and you feel really good and hyper, right? And that's because that's what sugar does sometimes, especially to children. Then your pancreas kicks in insulin and brings your blood sugar level back down, but it doesn't bring it back down to here. It brings it back down to here. When you're in a low blood sugar drop, when your blood sugar is low, you're in a blood sugar drop because you haven't been eating properly or have been eating the right things. You are in a state of hypersuggestibility. Now, what does that mean? That means that you're hypersuggestible to all the negativity of the world. You're hypersuggestible to that comment that your coworker made about you. You're hypersuggestible to the news. You're hypersuggestible to your own negative thinking, and everything is bigger than it ought to be. Even your sadness, even your anger, even your resentment is bigger than it ought to be because you're in a hypersuggestible state because you haven't been eating right and your blood sugar is down here. You're in a state of hypnosis. It's called biological hypnosis, walking hypnosis, environmental hypnosis. And hypnosis is, again, maybe a topic for another video. I'm a licensed hypnotherapist. I know something about it. But here's the thing, not a licensed, a certified hypnotherapist. You can't get licensed in hypnotherapy. But back to the topic. If you're hypersuggestible, and I'm talking with my hands and I spill this water right here, I could get so angry and make it the biggest deal in the world and slam my fist on the table because I spilled a glass of water. I'm hypersuggestible. I'm irritable. I haven't eaten. If my blood sugar's up here and I spill the water, I'll probably stop the video, go get a towel, clean it up, and do some editing on the video and hit the record button and resume right where I left off. You follow? And not make such a big deal about it. It's only a glass of freaking water. Not the end of the world, but how many times do little things like that become the biggest thing in the world because, and you might not even be aware of it, you might not even feel it or sense it, but because you're in a blood sugar drop. So if you're going to be managing your energy, then one of the things you have to do is manage your blood sugar. So I said, it's about what you eat and how you eat. You've got to be eating every 3 hours. I cannot tell you how many clients I've had in the past that don't eat breakfast. They skip lunch because they get too busy, and then they don't eat until dinner. No, you need to be eating first thing in the morning. You got to get your blood sugar back up to where it needs to be. The first thing in the morning, and you should be having not necessarily orange juice and coffee and caffeine and pastries and sugar-related things and things that turn to sugar in your body like white breads, white rice, white pasta, white potatoes, all of the things that we already know we shouldn't be eating, but protein-based. Protein, a high-protein, low-carb diet is how you manage your blood sugar levels and keep them where they ought to be. What does this look like, by the way? It starts to look like manic depressive, bipolar. It starts to look like some of those labels that psychiatrists and psychologists will put on people. Hyper, So anyway, manage your blood sugar levels because when you're down here, your ability to focus and concentrate go out the window, and by and large, your ability to be happy goes out the window. You got to be eating every 3 hours, and should be eating mostly protein, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be a handful of almonds or peanuts or meat or cheese or a protein bar. There's lots of stuff that is good if you're an on-the-go person. Just start to read labels. Read how many sugars are in that protein bar, okay, before you decide to buy it. So get educated, eat every 3 hours, and if anything I'm saying here doesn't sit well with you, consult with your nutritionist, consult with your doctor, but you've got to be managing your energy. You got to be managing how you eat and your blood sugar levels because, again, we go into blood sugar drops because of the way we eat and how we eat and what we're eating, and you don't want to be there because it doesn't support you being happy, okay? It doesn't support your emotional state of being. In a blood sugar drop, you're just more likely to be irritable and depressed and angry and all of that stuff. You follow? Okay, good. What's the next thing that is common sense but not always common practice is to be exercising. It's your next hack. Be exercising. Be intentional about giving your body what it needs to give your mind what it needs so that your mind and your body can support your emotional state. We know what exercise does. If you don't know, some of you listening probably exercise every day like me, 5-6 days a week. At least go for a walk out in nature. Do the things you like to do. I go to the gym because I just make it a habit. I want to say something about that, by the way. The gym, the dojo, exercise routines in general. I don't always want to go to the gym. I don't always want to get in the water and swim. I don't always want to go train. Some days I just don't feel like it. Some days I just don't have it. And sometimes those days win. Sometimes I just don't go because I just don't. I got nothing in the tank. You know what I'm saying? But most of those days do not win. Most of those days I discipline myself. I remind myself about what my intention is and how important it is to give my body exercise and my brain exercise, and I go. And what do I mean by my brain? Real quick. If you're not hip to exercise and you don't know how beneficial it is, your brain is your body's its own pharmacy. It creates chemicals toxic ones, bad ones, and good ones. And so exercise releases things that are supportive. It releases, dopamine and serotonin in the brain and things that make you feel better. It releases stress and frustration and tension and, the cortisol levels, all of that stuff that stress brings. Exercise is really critical if you are intentional about being happy. It's a hack. You got to be exercising. If you want to be happy and healthy and live longer, exercise. Cardiovascular exercise, as well as, that's called aerobic exercise, as well as anaerobic exercise in muscle toning, lifting weights. You got to do both. Both are important. Back to what I was going to say about going to the gym. I've been doing it all my life. I've been training, exercising, some kind of athletic activity, competition, all of my life. So like I said, there are days that I just don't feel like going. I just don't have it in me. I don't feel like it. Most of those days do not win. I usually do go to the gym. I usually do go train, no matter how I'm feeling. I want to say something real close, real on purpose here. So listen to what I'm about to say. There has never, ever been a day in my life that I can ever remember where I walked into the gym feeling the way I just described, not wanting to be there, not having a lot of energy to be there, not a lot of motivation. There's never been a day when I left the gym that I didn't feel better. Never. I always feel better than when I walked in on those days. I always feel good about releasing and exercising my body because I know it exercises my brain and it does wonderful things for our entire state of being. You got to be exercising in order to be happy, okay? Oh, enough said. Like I said, a lot of this is researchable on the internet, okay? If you don't know the benefits, Google the benefits of exercise. If you don't know the benefits about drinking, Google it. Now, I know what you're saying. Some of you are thinking, Sensei Ron, that's why I'm happy, because I'm drinking. That's not what I'm talking about in this video. It's not about drinking, that kind of drink. You got me, you got me. You feel me, you feel me. What I'm talking about is water. Water is the very best thing for your mind and your body that you can be drinking, and you need to be drinking a lot of it regularly. You need to be hydrated, okay? What's the number one cause of headache? Dehydration. So you have to be drinking and flushing the toxins that we all get from eating the wrong things, the wrong kind of foods that are going back to eating, nutritional, the toxic stuff that they put in preservatives and foods, et cetera, our environment, our air, the air that we're breathing. There are so many toxins in our life that are available to us and by the way, negative thinking and negative patterns and negative states also release toxic chemicals, causes the brain to release toxic chemicals it's not conducive to your being happy, to your well-being. So be drinking to, first of all, flush a lot of that stuff out. If, a lot of brain fog and inability to concentrate and feeling heavy and feeling like you're moving in a cloud is related to your gut. It's related to your stomach. It's related to the buildup of toxins from foods in your stomach. If you're constipated, what's the number one reason for constipation? Usually you're not drinking enough water. You got to flush that stuff out and get it out of your gut, because again, I'm telling you for a fact, and if you don't believe me, again, research it, consult with your doctor, consult with a nutritionist, but the buildup of your gut can cause brain fog. It can cause you to feel heavy. It can cause the things that are not conducive to you being well, being in a state of well-being, and being happy. How can you be happy when you're walking around in a fog all the time? inability to focus and concentrate, memory, short-term memory loss, those kinds of things. You start to just feel heavy and sluggish and blah. How can you be happy when you are feeling those things? You know as well as I do, you can't. So be drinking water. Don't go, I'm not suggesting, like I said, I'm not talking about going out and numbing yourself with alcohol and then you're happy. No. Nope. Talking about water, lots of it, okay? Every half hour, you gotta be drinking. I'm gonna drink some right now. What is the last thing, well, the last hack for this video? Certainly not the last thing. In fact, I'm assuming, I'm presuming, I'm anticipating that this video is gonna have some sequels to it, because there are a lot more things that you need to be doing in order to be happy and set yourself up to be happy. Again, are you putting yourself in the best position to be happy? That's what you got to do. Athletes put themselves in the best position to win. At least the ones that win. The athletes that win, most of the time, I call them champions. They start strong, they finish stronger, they do lots of different things to put themselves in the best position to win. If we're looking at it that way, you have to put yourself in the best position to be happy. You have to set yourself up to be happy. Again, happiness isn't a choice, it's an intention. If you're going to be intentional, then you want to be intending to set yourself up and put yourself in the best position to be happy. Again, it's just not going to happen to you one day. It's not going to happen to you when you get all of those things in life. Those things are not going to give you happiness. Do you know anybody that's achieved everything in life? That when you look at them, it's like they've got everything, fame and fortune and family, and it seems like they've just got everything, and yet they're still not happy because why? They're not making themselves happy. They're busy making everyone else happy. But the things that they've acquired, the success, the fortune, the fame, doesn't give them happiness because we know that lots of people have achieved those things and killed themselves. They've committed suicide. So you cannot tell me that those things give us happiness. They don't. So, back to you. Are you setting yourself up to be happy? You've got to. You've got to be intentional. Here's the fifth hack. You got to be sleeping. The days of, type A personalities bragging about they only need 3 or 4 hours of sleep. They'll sleep when they're dead. They're going to be dead sooner than most of us if they're not getting the amount of sleep that their body and brain requires. They're going to be dead sooner. We know that now. Sleep research, 50, 60, 70 years of sleep research has proven definitively that the human body and brain needs 8 hours of sleep. 8. Some people can get away with 7. Some people probably need 9. And it needs to be good quality sleep. You've got to set your night up so that you can be sleeping with good quality sound sleep throughout the night. Trust me, your brain and your body need it. And if you're one that's bragging about you don't, then I suggest that you get on Mr. Googs. You go consult Mr. Googs, Google, and do your research about the latest studies of sleep. They are definitive. You can't argue with them. The jury has delivered, and you need to be sleeping. Your brain and your body need the sleep. So the question then becomes, well, am I sleeping? Am I sleeping? Am I getting 8 hours of sleep? How then, if you're not, how then can you? How can you set yourself up? How can you, take command over your time and over your day so that you get to bed on time and that you rise on time and that you get those 8 hours of quality sleep? So I have some suggestions for you because it's really, really important that you do. Number one, of course, common sense is not always common practice, but I would suggest making sure that your bed is comfortable. You have a comfortable mattress and comfortable pillows. Number two, cool the room. We know part of that sleep research is that we sleep best when the room is around 65 to 68 degrees. Cool your room. Simple. That's why they have cooling mattresses now and cooling pillows and cooling sheets to help your body maintain a temperature that is just right and conducive to good, high quality sleep. Okay? You don't want any broken sleep. You don't want to be getting up every 2 hours to pee. So if that's happening, common sense. Make sure that you stop drinking things like caffeine and juices and water even before, after 4 or 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. Don't drink anything before bed because, of course, your body's going to need to pee it out. And some of you are retaining a lot of water, so you wake up, every few hours to pee, but that's called broken sleep. And so if that's happening for you, find the ways for your body to not have to do that because it's not retaining so much water. If you're retaining water, consult a nutritionist about how you can use diuretics or anything else to get your body to release that water through sweat, through pee during the day so you don't have to do it at night. What else? Listen to this one, okay? Please listen to this one. In the last half hour, when the room starts to get dark and your brain is preparing you to go into sleep, your brain waves start to come down. Okay, when they come down to delta or theta, and delta is unconscious sleep, theta, in that state, in that brainwave area, you're in hypnosis. You are. I know some of you watching don't even believe in hypnosis, but do your research. We all go in and out of it all day long. Hypnosis is just a word. It's not playing with the devil, like some people out there believe hypnosis is voodoo. I'm talking about hypnotherapy, using that to break through some things. It's actually very powerful because you're working with your subconscious mind. But back to what I'm saying is that in the last half hour before sleep, you're going into basically a state of hypersuggestibility. What happens if you're watching the news? You're taking in the negativity of the day. What happens even if you're not watching the news, that you're lying in bed and thinking about everything that's going wrong in your life instead of what's going right? Because that's what the mind wants to do. It wants to analyze and rehearse the worst possible scenarios in the future, what you're worried about and anxious about, and what didn't happen and what's not happening and what's going wrong. If you do that before bed, you're programming your mind for more of it. You're programming your subconscious mind because you're in a state of hypersuggestibility, so you're hypersuggestible to it. Then you fall asleep, and during your dreams, your subconscious mind is working those things and reinforcing them in your subconscious. You wake up in the morning and you just go through your day again, and this is really not conducive to your happiness. What you ought to be doing in that last half hour is doing affirmations or some positive journaling and focus on what's going right. Focus on what you want to go right and begin to see it in your mind and fall asleep that way so that you're programming your subconscious mind. Okay, so turn off the TV. That was my original point. No media in the last half hour before bed. Reading has been proven to help, focus the mind, focus the brain, and help you kind of fall asleep. But what should you be reading? Something spiritual, something healthy, something self-help, some sort of positive information is what you should be reading. Okay, what else can you do if you're having issues sleeping? Of course, there are natural, I do not suggest drugs, of course, but there are natural things that you can be drinking. Again, the teas right before bed, the teas that help you sleep. If you don't pee a lot, fine. But if you do, don't be drinking those. But melatonin, of course, is a natural supplement that your brain produces that you can just take to help you fall asleep. What else? Of course, darken the room. I like to sleep with a black t-shirt over my eyes. And I like to sleep with a very, very light pillow over my ear. So I've got an ear cover and I've got an eye cover, and I just go into my own little fort my own little world, and it helps me fall asleep. I'm gotta get those blinds and darken that room. What else? Well, you can have a white noise machine. I don't know, 15, 20 bucks on Amazon, and just buy this little white machine that makes different sounds. I suggest the white noise. Just hit the white noise button, turn it on a low level. It tends to focus us and cause us to bring our brainwave states down and fall asleep. Okay? There's other things too, I'm sure. Google it, research it, set yourself up for a great night's sleep, and you will be setting yourself up and putting yourself in the best position to be happy, because if you're not sleeping properly, the next day you're effectively drunk. Even if you don't feel like it, even if you're arguing with me right now on the other side of the screen, you're saying, no, you're wrong. No, I'm not wrong. I'm not. Do your own research. Because some of this stuff, you don't even recognize it. You don't feel it. It's just so routine for you. It's so part of your day that you don't recognize just how your cognitive level has dropped. You want to raise your cognitive level, your ability to have energy and vitality throughout your day and feel more alive and bring some of that energy into your life. That's more conducive to your happiness. You've got to be sleeping properly. You've got to be drinking. You got to be nutritional. You've got to be exercising, and you got to be intentional about all of it. Those are your 5 happiness hacks. Now, since I'm a guy, before I turn this video off, and let me remind you to hit the subscribe button, because I got tons more content on You Living Your Best Life coming. I plan on recording them and putting it up. But listen, and share the channel with your friends. But listen, since I'm a guy who likes to over-deliver, I'm going to give you a 6th bonus hack. All right? Here's your 6th hack to happiness. It's what I've learned throughout my life. It's what it's how I, set myself up to be more happy. You've got to be playful. Be playful. Now, I don't know what that means for you. I know what it means for me. I'm a bit of a prankster. And so when I'm around my friends and my people I'm working with on the set or wherever I am, I like to prank. I like to have fun. I like to take things not so seriously all the time. I did the Conan show at Universal Studios Hollywood, day in and day out, 4, 5, 6, 7 shows a day sometimes. It was grueling, it was agonizing, and it was corporate theater. It was routine. It got to be boring because it got to be so monotonous. And so to break up the routine for myself and my fellow actors, I was known as the prankster. People didn't actually want to go on stage with me because I would pull some crazy stuff on them, and just for fun. The audience didn't really know most of the time, I hope, that I was pranking people on stage or backstage. But listen, I just got to a place. We're doing so many shows in corporate theater, and it was just like any other corporate job where you have the corporate people pressuring you in all kinds of different ways to maintain your level of performance. Well, I had to break the seriousness of all of it. I think we have to break the seriousness of life sometimes. Don't take ourselves so seriously, don't take life so seriously, and just be playful. Again, part of that is pranking. Be laughing. There's a 7th hack. Be laughing, which is part of being playful. Find yourself, just Google jokes, get some friends that like to tell jokes and email each other a joke each day. Google a joke, say, hey, Google, tell me a joke. Hey, Alexa, tell me a joke. So that you're laughing, because we know, just like exercising, that laughter is, of course, it causes the brain to produce those tonic chemicals that are healing, that help you be in a better mental and physical state. What you feed your body, you feed your mind, thus feeding your emotions. What you feed your mind, you feed your body. You're feeding your being, and you're feeding your emotions. You got it. So be laughing. There was an experiment where they took people who were depressed and sad. They made them hold a pencil like that in their mouths. When you hold a pencil in your mouth, what happens? the corners of your mouth go up, emulating a smile, right? And so they couldn't smile naturally, so they would just hold a pencil in their mouth 3 times a day for 20 minutes each time. And over time, they became happier and less sad and less depressed, just because this is activating different parts of the brain. Causing the mouth to go up is one part of the brain. Causing it sad to go down is another part of the brain. Smile, laugh, be playful, take life less seriously, and implement all of these things into your life, into your routine, into your day. Bring more energy, bring the happiness. It's happening through you, not to you. Bring it with you, create it. And until the next video, I hope you continue to do just that. And I will see you on the next video. Put your comments below. I appreciate you, and I hope this has served you in some very big ways, and that supports you living your best life.